now like to introduce EFF's legal director, Cindy Cohen, to present the last Pioneer Award.
Hello, everyone. I can't tell you how honored I am to be here and to be the person who gets to introduce Cory Doctorow. While the EFF staffing board had no role in the selection of the Pioneer Award winners, you should have heard the giant woot that went up at the staff meeting when we learned that Cory was one of them. As you know, Cory was on staff at the EFF until 2005, and we still miss him every single day. I'd like to tell you that we molded him somehow at EFF, but that's just not true. He came to us fully formed like this, and we just pointed him in the direction of WIPO and let him loose. Now, I find it hard to imagine that anyone at ETech, and especially at the EFF Pioneer Awards, wouldn't already know about Cory Doctorow. But in case you just restored from backup after being offline for several years, let me give you a few of the particulars. Cory is currently the Canadian Fulbright Chair in Public Diplomacy at the USC Center for Public Diplomacy, and before that he was EFF's European Affairs Coordinator. Throughout this time he's been a tremendously prolific science fiction author, as well as a contributor to the most popular blog on the internet, Boing Boing. He has regular columns in Popular Science and Make Magazine. He's a contributing writer at Wired Magazine and contributes occasionally to other magazines and newspapers ranging from the New York Times, Sunday Magazine, to the Globe and Mail, to Asimov Science Fiction Magazine, and the Boston Globe. And along the way, he's given us Woofy, the ultimate reputation system. He's given pudgy little girls the power to slay gold farmer armies. He's combined wireless networking with leathery angel wings, and he's given us ant colony planning algorithms, and many, many more. Cory is an internet pioneer not just because he is an unabashed technology enthusiast, but because he engages all of us to think about not only what's new and what's cool, but what's right and what's wrong. And he doesn't just pronounce from on high. Cory actually engages in a conversation with us, and by that I mean with millions of us on an ongoing basis, and millions of us all around the world. Through his books, his speeches, his activism, and of course his blogging, Cory has invited all of us to think critically with him about ourselves and our role in this new digital world. And he's taught us things. He's taught us that business models built on false scarcity are doomed to failure in this digital world. And he's walked his talk by releasing his own works online for free at the time of paper publication. And he's delved into the minutiae of the international intellectual property negotiations, bringing them out into the sunlight, as well as explaining why they matter to all of us, the digerati and the infoserfs alike. And he's taught us that you can love the Haunted Mansion and still fight mightily against the overreaching Disney Corporation. And he's done it in large part by harnessing the power of a technology devised for online diaries, the blog. With his cohorts at Boing Boing, he's created a must-read part of the day for over 2 million people around the world. With a multitude of posts per day, Cory often appears to be everywhere all at once, noticing everything interesting and certainly everything weird that's going on all around the world. Which is why just last week, Cory was featured in the webcomic XKCD as a kind of blogging superhero. Cory, could you come up here for a minute?
So we brought you the goggles.
That's good.
Wow.
So ladies and gentlemen, I give you EFF Internet pioneer, Cory Doctorow.
Thank you all very much. I tell you, I came back to California from London just 9 months ago, and it was a year, an academic year that was getting off to a good start. I came back because I had this Fulbright chair, and then I won the Locus Award for a story and was nominated for a Hugo, and things just kept getting better. The World Economic Forum made me a junior woodchuck, and I thought that was as good as it could get. And then I found out I was winning the Pioneer Award, and I realized that I hadn't even begun to understand just how great the moment that could be bestowed on me was. And I thought that I topped it all, and then I got engaged last week. And that's about as good as it My experience started with a conversion experience at 30,000 feet with Fred and Cindy in the belly of a tin can filled with discount air traveler flatulence for several hours over a couple of different oceans. And at the time, I was the co-founder of a peer-to-peer software company, and we had a long conversation about copyright and DRM. I was a DRM believer in those days, believe it or not. And it was on that flight that I started to realize that thinking about technology is the way that we solve social problems, like how artists should make a living or how contracts should be mediated, was not the right answer. That we have instead these social mechanisms like the rule of law, like justice, like fairness, that could be used to mediate these in the absence of technology. And in fact, technology could never achieve what these fundamental values of a democratic society could attain. And I became an optimist. I think that to say that we need technology to lock us up or to control us or to keep us from doing bad things is a fundamentally pessimistic statement about the human condition. That to think that we can use social mechanisms to regulate and mediate our behavior is an optimistic statement both about technology and about what it means to be human. And EFF led me to believe that we can change the world with the power of ideas. I stand here on the stage sharing a podium with two people who changed the world with ideas. I defy you to read Coase's Penguin and the Wealth of Networks and not have the way you think about the world forever changed. I defy you to read books like Beyond Fear and Bruce's many incredible essays and not have everything you think about changed through the lens that he's given you to understand the world and the fundamental strictures that we put in place to make us safe from each other and from external dangers as well. So I found myself with EFF as part of a tribe of people who are working within and outside of EFF to preserve these human values of justice and fairness, of transparency and democracy, using technology, but not merely through technology. And I'm proud, immensely proud, and honored to have worked with those people and to have been a part of that tribe, and particularly proud to have joined this exalted group of co-nominees, co-winners from this year, and the past winners, who, frankly, to be mentioned in that exalted company, I don't know how I'll ever get my head through the door again. EFF, in my short time there, has shown to me, and I think to everyone who's paid attention, that it wins its fights. It picks fights and it wins them against incredible odds, seemingly, merely by relying on this fundamental human trait of a love of justice and love of democracy. I've worked with EFF to walk into places like the United Nations, right? Into an entity at the United Nations, WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization, that I think of as having the same relationship to bad copyright law that Mordor has to evil. and I've watched a group of EFF people and people whom EFF brought in and people whom EFF works with work against incredible odds, right? To walk into a place where we're funded with a few $1,000s to send a few people to WIPO and coming up against billions of dollars and hundreds of people who've been sent to WIPO to achieve some special favor for some industry or another, and just kick their ass by doing stuff like writing down what they said, right? This is the transformational power of the internet. And I had many great and moments at WIPO, but I think the best one I had, and I have to mention this given who's in the audience tonight, I think the best one I had was sitting in a shopping mall at 2 in the morning. It was the only place with open Wi-Fi, freezing my stones off with my laptop on the last erg of my battery and getting the okay from Mark to say that he would sign our letter opposing the broadcast treaty, which had been brought by Yahoo on behalf of Broadcast.com, the company that he co-founded. And then getting it printed at 2 in the morning and photocopied at 8 when the copy shop opened, because the secretariat said that she would no longer photocopy our documents for us, and bringing it in and seeing the look on the face of the representative of DEMA, who had brought the broadcast treaty to WIPO on behalf of Yahoo when he saw the names that we had on our letter opposing it, and to watch what happened to the supposedly strong edifice that the United States government and these few media companies that had come there with special pleading crumble in the face of this, in the face of support from people like Mark and all the other supporters who have been such a big important piece of what we've done. And we've done this over and over and over again. I mean, watching us win the broadcast flag fight, watching all the litigation that we've won, all the activist causes that we've taken on, has inspired me to think that we really can change the world with ideas. We really can change the world by being optimists about the human condition. So that's what I have to say. All that remains is to thank the people who got me here, Alice and the Electronic Frontier Foundation, my coworkers who really became my family in my tenure there, my co-editors on Boing Boing, excuse me. I come from a family of weepy Eastern European Jews. Of course, Boing Boing readers and my own readers in Creative Commons, and all of you who supported EFF and who made it possible. Thank you very much.
So that's our show for tonight. Thank you all for coming. Thank you again to our sponsors.